5 GMs in a Trenchcoat is back, and this time with Season 3, as GM Tanlin uses Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for her story.
Imagine the stench of fear, of sweat and of blood, cold stone beneath your palm as you feel your way down an impossibly dark and endless hallway. Here there's as much fear as there is isolation, and as much hopelessness as there is violence, or at least fantasies of it.
Join Callan Omoris Caldwell, played by Adam Gonzalez, Reen Sato, played by Kim Siyuki, 2.5 Horns, played by Jesse Espinoza, and Onder Madison, played by Tanner Sherlock, as they navigate the kingdom of Miltant and the horrors that await them.
So you guys hear, like, an alarm bell, like, fucking, all the doors go, shadunk, and then you also hear, like, coming from the ceiling.
5 Gems in a Trenchcoat is a TTRPG actual play podcast where 5 friends take turns weaving stories through the tabletop game of their choice each season, with new episodes out every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are in Silent Hill. It was just a joke before!
This Snazzy Tapier production is made possible by our patrons. If you'd like to join them, head over to patreon.com/snazzytapier to get early access to new episodes, access to the members-only Discord, and our exclusive monthly newsletter. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to A Game of One's Own, a podcast all about solo and duet role-playing games. I'm your host, Maddy Searle. My pronouns are they, them, and today I'm playing Forgery, a solo game by Banana-chan. In this game, I'll be taking on the role of a down-on-their-luck art forger named Tempest. I'll be reading text from the game book which describes what happens to my character, then answering prompts as the character. I'll also be creating a paint-by-numbers portrait, and depending on which colours I choose, the path my story takes will change. The text in the second person, addressing the player character as you, is written by the game designer Banana-chan and describes the situations Tempest finds himself in. Anything that I write myself will be in response to prompts from the gamebook, and I'll be writing them in character as Tempest using the first person perspective. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Tempest, like the storm. After hours of labour, your mother decided to name you Tempest. Your name in Cantonese is Toifong, meaning typhoon, which felt appropriate at the time, because your family name is Louis, meaning thunder. But your mother never tells anyone else that speaks Cantonese. It's not really something you name a kid, unless you want to see them picked on all the time. But it was too late to change it on your birth certificate. Your parents got divorced early in your childhood, but you got a new little sister out of the deal. You never got into trouble, you got good grades, and when it came to college, you decided to go to art school. That was the first big fight you got into with your mother. For you, it felt like a huge contradiction. Why would she send you to so many art classes growing up if she didn't want you to go to art school? Your senior year of university felt hopeful. You might be able to have your work shown at Art Basel. One by one, you saw your wealthy classmates graduate and get shown at art galleries all around the world. Networking connections fell through for you, and fast forward 8 years, you're now a professional art forger with an Etsy account and everything. Of course, all of it is legal, as long as you tell the person who's buying the paintings that they're fakes. It's a tough living, though. There are only so many fake Mona Lisas you can sell. You're still hoping that one day you'll make it in the art world, but you have to focus on paying those bills first. Living in New York City is tough. Let's get to know you a bit more. Answer these questions. What was the last forged painting that you sold? A month ago, I sold a forgery of The Birth of Venus by Botticelli. I used to dream about visiting Florence to see it in person, but now I just get a headache thinking about how many folds of cloth I had to paint. Aside from money, what do you think holds you back from reaching your true potential? I'm scared that if I pour my soul into a work of art, really commit to it, and then people hate it, that it would destroy me. Then I'd never want to paint again. Part of me thinks this fear is ridiculous. Making art is all I've ever wanted to do. But another part of me is terrified of it. What do you have to prove to the world? I want to prove that I have something important to say with my work, that I can bring something new and exciting and special. I know it's impossible to come up with anything that's completely original, but I want to prove that I have something to offer to the art world that's uniquely mine. The gallery. It's a Monday. You're transferred 3 subway lines to get to the art gallery, where they're hosting a group show with one of your pieces. You pass the movers filling up boxes with packing material, carefully transferring paintings and sculptures into the crates. Maybe you were sold as well. If that series of photographed prints of people sitting on a cake bare-assed sold, then you definitely got something out of this, right? You walk around a corner, expecting to see an empty space where your painting was hung. Your heart drops when you see it's still there. What is your piece about? It's about feeling like an outsider. The subject of the painting is crammed into a corner of the canvas, hugging their knees, while faceless figures fill the rest of the space, separated from the subject by a glass-like wall. Why do you think it's still here? Maybe this painting is too much of a bummer? Or maybe it's too cluttered? Or maybe it's too self-indulgent? Or maybe the faceless figures are too abstract? I don't know. I really tried my best with this one, but I guess that it wasn't enough. As you stand there, contemplating the reasons why it might be too intense, not intense enough, too unrelatable, not relatable enough, the gallery manager taps your shoulder, startling you mid-thought. Oh good, I don't have to tell you. Unfortunately, it didn't quite cut it this time around. I guess our clients just aren't looking for whatever your painting was. She clears her throat as she loudly taps out an email on her phone. What kind of monster doesn't silence their phone, you think to yourself? It doesn't matter. That's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. You try to defend yourself, explaining the concept behind the painting, but she's not listening. She's still crafting her email. Look, your piece just wasn't for everyone. Excuse me, what I meant to say was, fine art isn't really for everyone. You have a good eye. Maybe this just isn't your thing. Have you thought about graphic design or something? Hey! Alina spins her head to the sound of something hitting the linoleum floor. One of the movers accidentally dropped the cake butt print. A client paid enough to cover 3 months of your salary for that. Be fucking careful. A ball of needles forms in your throat as you watch Alina and the movers gather around the cake butt print. You clench your hands and thin your lips, trying to hold back the frustration. You can't let anyone see you like this. You grab your painting from the wall and run out the front door before anyone sees you crying. What do you wish you could have done differently? I wish I could have told Alina to fuck off. Well, maybe not fuck off, but I wish I could have stood my ground, defended myself. In a flash of pettiness, I wish I could have punched the cake butt print into next Tuesday, but I know that wouldn't have solved any of my problems and created a bunch of new ones. What does that wall of text messages that you send your best friend, Cody, say? Hey, Cody, hope your day's going okay. I was just at the gallery and my painting hasn't sold, so I'm feeling kinda down. Okay, I lied. I'm feeling really, really shitty. Alina asked if I'd considered graphic design in the most patronizing way possible, and the fucking cake butt print has sold for a stupid amount of money. Sorry to vent like this, I just really need to get it out of my system. Cody, not like Wyoming. Cody eventually responds to you, but not until you've had a full sobbing meltdown between the time you walked to the subway station in Manhattan, transferred 3 times, and reappeared back in Brooklyn. For some reason, anytime you're crying in Manhattan, people think that the best thing to do is wolf whistle at you. The other time you get wolf whistled at is when you're carrying groceries. You blame yourself for doing grocery shopping in Manhattan when you live in Brooklyn. There's only one store that carries that specific brand of vinegar that you love, though, and you'd swim through wolf-whistling sharks any day just to get there. Cody left you a voice message in response to your texts. Hey, I got all your messages. That super sucks. But as a consolation prize, I did get us tickets to go see that immersive installation you'd been wanting to check out. I don't care for it, but I know you want to go. Meet me there at 9 p.m. for their last show. The show they're talking about is House of Creep, a horror installation with 7 different rooms, each inspired by one of the 7 deadly sins. Why did you want to go to the show? I have a soft spot for horror, and I figured that even if the installation is cheesy, I could have fun dunking on it with Cody. But if I like it, it might give me inspiration for my own stuff. You never know. Also, I just really like the deadly sin of sloth. I think it's kind of funny. You find yourself climbing back onto the subway train, feeling the heat attack your face again. It's the worst part of summer, the middle. Nighttime is meant to be better, but the machinery in the subway doesn't know that, working overtime to compete with overheating. When you finally arrive, Cody tugs you through a doorway shaped like a giant mouse. On the other side is a platform where a suited man is wearing a giant mirror-finished goat's head mask. He asks for your tickets, and Cody shows their phone. Cody is tall, wearing a neon green crop top that says "Bite Me," with a smiling cartoon pickle and cut light blue jean shorts. They definitely got changed after their acting gig earlier that day. You know this because you've seen them get berated at a rehearsal once when the director of the play told them they don't get paid to wear anything other than black. To which Cody responded, "Where exactly is my paycheck?" When they first met you, they introduced themselves as Cody, not like Wyoming. They continued with, "Don't ask me why, I always get Cody like the city. No, it's Cody like short for Dakota, as in Fanning. Again, not the city, or the people." How did you meet Cody? I went to see a play that a friend of mine had worked on as a set designer. It was very low budget, but my friend Tara had done a really good job with the set, going for an old Hollywood musical painted backdrop sort of vibe. And Cody was playing one of the supporting roles. They were fucking hilarious, absolutely stealing every scene they were in. The leads could barely keep up. Tara introduced me to them afterwards at the bar, and we just hit it off. 10 minutes later, we were joking together like we'd been friends since high school. We bonded over this old cartoon that we were both convinced we'd imagined because it was so weird, but it turns out it had traumatized us both as kids. Before today, when was the last time they did something nice for you? What was it? A couple of weeks ago, my toilet suddenly refused to flush, and despite several calls and texts to my landlord, he completely ignored me. It was getting pretty dire. Not even YouTube plumbing tutorials could save me. Cody heroically offered to help, and within 20 minutes, it was fixed. Then we spent the evening watching the musical episode of Buffy and annoying the neighbours with our loud, tuneless singing. You walk along a catwalk with several metallic arms outstretched off the platform, reaching towards you. Some of them are holding fake phones. "This place is creepy," Cody remarks as they bend down to take a selfie with an arm holding a phone. How meta. You tell them that's why it's called House of Creep. You know that Cody only got tickets because they knew you were excited for this. They said they don't really care for this kind of thing, and they meant it. A pair of protruding parted lips acts as the entryway into the next mirror-filled room, where you recognize someone familiar. Fuck, it's the guy who got his print sold, Nate. You recognize him after stalking his social media stories, hate watching his videos, despite knowing you'd only be driving up his viewership. He's hanging out with a group of gorgeous people, standing like a Hemsworth brother, wearing a sleeveless shirt and sea-bleached hair. Before you can tell Cody, they wave at him. You try to pull their hand down, but it's too late. He's walking over to you. "Hey, I know you too." "We had classes together in college," Cody remarks while looking at you as if to say, "What did I do now?" "Oh, right, yeah, painting. I always sucked at that course." Nate looks over at you. "Hey, weren't you at the art show a while ago?" You put together every ounce of confidence in your voice to tell him that you were showing there. You explain your piece's concept, but before you can finish, you hear Nate's posse yelling for him to hurry up. "Hey, sorry, I gotta go. It was great seeing you both, Nate waits for you to introduce yourselves. "I'm Cody, and this is Brody and Temps. Great. We should get brunch one day." Nate waves hurriedly and reconvenes with his group. You know that ending a conversation with a stranger by saying you should get brunch is basically the same as saying, "I'll probably never see you again, but I want to be polite about it." What kind of shit do you talk about behind Nate's back with Cody? I tell Cody about Nate's cliched, tacky photographs, and about the rumours he got the idea for his cake butt series from an ex who he's never credited. I also talk about the arrogant tone of his videos, as if he is the great expert and everyone else is lucky to get his great insights into photography. Why do you feel intimidated by Nate? He's got followers and fans all over the world. He's got movie star good looks. He's got truckloads of confidence despite his mediocre work. Even if I were at the top of my game selling paintings left, right, and centre, I could never have that kind of confidence Nate does. I wish I could just put all my self-doubt aside and be half as self-assured as he is. But without any of Nate's condescending bullshit. Sister knows best. It's been a couple of days of moping before your sister Kara finally forces you out of your overpriced Brooklyn hovel and out to an unlimited mimosa brunch. Actual brunch. Though she's younger than you, she always seems to have her life so put together. Shit, she's even paying for brunch, and you're not going to say no to that. I liked your painting, even if I didn't really get it. Kara sips her mimosa gingerly. You know what she's about to say next. I liked your painting, even if I didn't really get it. Kara sips her mimosa gingerly. You know what she's going to say next. I know you hate me asking this, but why don't you consider working at my office? I could refer you to HR. There's a creative department that does PowerPoints. I know it's not very creative, but the pay is super good. Okay, maybe not super good, but you'll get benefits at least. Kara works at a high-end consulting firm, doing, you're not quite sure what they consult on, but you know they work with other businesses in finance, healthcare, you name it. Why don't you want to work for Kara's company? The only time I worked in an office was about a year after I graduated from college. I was so bored I wanted to claw my eyes out. My coworkers basically just ignored me. As soon as I passed my 3-month probationary period, the company had a massive downsizing, and about a quarter of all employees were fired, including me. I know that not all office jobs are that shitty, but it has definitely made me very reluctant to go back to that kind of job. You push back on Kara's offer and she nods. Yeah, I get it. She sounds disappointed, but she's asked you this before and every time it's been the same answer from you. Just as the waiter comes by to refill your glass, the phone buzzes against the wood table. You pick it up and see an email from an unknown sender. The subject is contracted painting job. You open the email, hoping you're not about to get phished. Is that how it even works? Subject, contracted painting job. From rwolfram@meglight.com. Dear Tempest, I have seen a lot of your work and I am quite impressed by the level of detail you put into your replicas. I would like to offer you a job. There is a painting that I need your help with. I can offer you $100,000. The timeline will be for 6 months. Please let me know if this is doable. I'd love to chat with you more. Let's arrange a time to meet at my office. Sincerely, Richmond. Kara pokes your arm lightly. Hey, are you going to eat your avocado toast or are you too busy looking at your himbo's Instagram? You explain to her that first off, you've moved on from hate-watching Mate's Instagram and you're on to bigger and better things now. And secondly, you have a potential new client. What makes you think that this is a legitimate email and not a scam? The meglight.com in Richmond's email address rings a bell, though I'm not sure exactly what it refers to. Also, he wants to meet at his office, which doesn't exclude the possibility of shady dealings, but makes them seem less likely. In the case of a scam, how are you going to convince Cody or Kara to go with you? Cody can usually be persuaded by an unholy quantity of homemade sponge cakes. Thank fuck for my mother's family recipe. I might be able to appeal to Kara's curiosity and sell it as an adventure to learn more about my mystery benefactor. Kara raises an eyebrow. Whenever you decide to go, I'll be too busy at the office. Besides, I'm sure Cody would love to go to this with you. You throw a sugar packet at her, joking about what a great sister she is. She laughs before realization seems to sweep over her face. Oh, but I think we might have a project with Meglight soon. Can you please keep me in the loop with this? Keep me in the loop? Does she talk corporate out loud all the time? How did I just start noticing this? You think to yourself. You ask her what the company does, and she shrugs. Mostly health insurance, like dental and vision and stuff. Maybe a partner needs more corporate art for their walls. Devil's Advocate. It's 1 p.m. when you get to the Meglight office. The black glass obelisk of a building towers over you, blocking the sun. You did some Googling before coming to the office and Kara was right. It's all health insurance stuff. Stuff that clearly goes over your head. You barely understand what a deductible is. You know that movie, Devil's Advocate? Cody pulls their glasses down below their eyes. What do you say to Cody to explain that this is nothing like the movie Devil's Advocate? This isn't a law firm, I don't have a wife, I'm not going to take some Faustian bargain from a blatant Paradise Lost reference. Also, from his company profile pic, this Richmond guy doesn't look anything like Al Pacino. Cody laughs nervously. I'm kidding, I'm sure we'll be fine. This is totally normal. Through the revolving door, you approach the security guards playing on their phones. You ask to see Mr. Wolfram, and the guard gives you an annoyed look for interrupting her Sudoku game. After a quick phone call upstairs, she takes your IDs before handing you a paper pass. You two can go right up. I'll be keeping your IDs until you get back. You and Cody exchange looks before the guard explains. We've had a lot of problematic folks here lately. Devil's advocate, Cody whispers into your ear. You lightly nudge them to quit it in response. The guard points you down a hallway and goes back to her Sudoku game. You enter the sleek chrome elevator, where you have some time to panic with Cody. What if we don't get our IDs back? Cody whispers. What if they're going to take us and kill us and sell our body parts on the black market? Didn't you say this is a health insurance company? What if they're going to gouge us on our insurance rates? Blackmail us with our body parts so we pay for a higher deductible? I'm an actor. I can't afford any of this. What do you say to calm Cody down? Come on, Cody, it'll be fine. It's just your standard corporate bullshit. Kara says this company's legit, and I believe her. We'll be out of here in 15 minutes, and you'll be drowning in baked goods before you know it. The sponge cakes I made this morning are extra fluffy. The elevator doors eventually open, and a woman in a grey blazer and pencil skirt greets you. Hello, you must be Tempest. Hi, I'm Cody. They introduce themselves without any prompting. Cody. The woman raises an eyebrow. Nice to meet you both. If you will follow me, Richmond is expecting you. She guides you through a maze of cubicles, leading to a beige door next to several uncomfortable-looking fake wood chairs. She stops you both, pointing at Cody. Not you. You'll have to wait outside. Cody throws their hands up dramatically and flumps their ass down on an uncomfortable chair. Ow! They turn to the woman. For what I'm guessing is a multi-million-dollar company, you should invest in better seating options. I'll be waiting outside, Tempest. First sign of trouble, I'm running in there, guns blazing. They point at their flexed arms. You nod and enter the door. On the other side is a wood-panelled office that you swear is larger than your own apartment. Books line the walls, reminiscent of an old clubhouse library minus the globe thing that opens out into a bar. The room is also missing that cigar stench. A window crawls from the floor to the ceiling, exposing the city below. Behind the desk is a handsome, older white man, grinning from ear to ear. You wonder who he looks like. Richard Gere? Pierce Brosnan? You keep an eye on his mouth, checking to see if he has fangs. Could he be a vampire, you think to yourself? Luckily, you see no signs of fangery. Tempest, please have a seat. Richmond motions to the red-leathered seat across from him. I'm a big fan of your work. The precision of your recreations are magnificent. Something that I always found fascinating about art is how much power it can hold for the viewer. How it is an embodiment of what the creator wants to convey. What bullshit about art do you spew at Richmond? Yeah, thank you. I do a lot of research about each of the pieces I recreate, and I try and keep in mind the artist's intentions when I'm painting. The technique is important, no question, but I think the meaning of the work should come first. He throws a manila folder to you. This is your assignment, along with enough cash for expenses and 20% for the project. Consider it in advance. Once it's finished, I'll give you the rest. You open the folder to reveal a USB drive and several photos of the painting you've been asked to forge, along with a list of materials to purchase. You flip through the wad of cash, your eyes growing wider with each $100 bill. It's all legal, and it's only for me. I'm not going to resell it or anything like that. You can count to see it's all there. Richmond reaches for a glass and pours what looks and smells like whiskey. He reaches for a second, offering you one as well, but you decline. Cody's voice echoes in your mind. Devil's advocate. What creeps you out about the pictures? The pictures show the painting placed on an easel in the center of a small room. Although there's enough light to see the painting, the room is obscured by shadows. I keep thinking I see a weird, monstrous shape in the darkness, but it's much more likely that it's just a weird lamp or a piece of old furniture. And you know that cliche about a painting's eyes following you around? The eyes of the winged figure in this painting seem to avoid my gaze right up until the moment I glance away, and in that microsecond, I swear they're looking directly at me. Do we have a deal? You shake Richmond's hand, and he takes a sip of his glass, grinning smugly. Perfect. You have 6 months. I'll be checking in on your progress from now and then. Imprimatura. You're in your apartment, standing in front of a blank canvas almost as tall as you are. Your new oil paints are scattered around you within arm's reach. Luckily, you had Cody to help you with the shopping. After telling them what had happened, and showing them the thick wad of cash, their worry subsided, and in its stead, anticipation for you to pay for dinner. On the USB drive, you find more pictures of the painting. Some close-ups, some of the piece hung on a wall. Unfortunately, it's hard for you to tell what the colours should be, given the photo's colour grading. You're going to have to ballpark this. You prop open a window and pour some turpentine into a takeout container. You briefly enjoy the toxic smells wafting into the room before putting a mask over your face. It reminds you of when you were 16, learning how to paint. Back then, you never wore a mask, because no one knew any better. You were sent to a tutor by your mother, who needed to find a distraction for you while she was at work. She was always worried you'd run in with a bad crowd or get into drugs or worse, date. So, she sent you to the infamous art forger Xu Wai-chen instead. Why did you enjoy your lessons with Wai-chen? Wai-chen wasn't afraid to challenge his pupils, but he was also endlessly patient. When I'd had a rough time at school or at home, I knew that Wai-chen's studio would be calm and quiet, a refuge from the chaos of the outside world. I could lose myself in painting for hours, with Wai-chen offering advice and encouragement exactly when I needed it. What was your favourite thing or person to paint? I loved painting flowers. The symmetry, the colours, the patterns, the organic shapes made me feel so peaceful. My favourite flower to paint was the iris, with its deep, deep purples and that little pop of yellow. I still keep the botanical encyclopedia I used for reference on my bedside table. It was around the fall time when you received a letter from Wai-chen, an apology saying he would be going on a very long trip to Taiwan, and you were one of his star pupils. You didn't think much of it at first. You'd probably resume your lessons again eventually. But it wasn't before long you found a news article about a gallery owner getting arrested and an illegal art forger on the run. How did you deal with losing one of your favourite teachers? I didn't deal with it very well, to be honest. I was always a quiet kid, but for a while after that I became even quieter. I never let my schoolwork slip, but I didn't really talk to anyone, except my sister. She could tell that Wai-chen's departure had affected me, but she never pushed me to talk about it. Eventually I admitted to her how much I missed him and his lessons, and after that I started to come out of my shell a bit more. As you reminisce, you start to form an outline of the painting. You look at your reference photos and shudder. Whatever this Richmond guy wants with this painting, you hope it's not going to get you into trouble. As you paint, who or what do you think about? So, as part of the last prompt, I had to print out the paint by numbers image, and depending on who or what I chose to think about, I had to colour in the spaces labelled 1 with warm colours, cool colours, or neutral colours. Because I chose to think about Alina telling you should try graphic design instead, I used warm colours like red, orange, and yellow. Now I have to turn to a specific page of the book based on the colours I chose. But that's all the time we have for this week's episode. So next time we'll find out how my choice has influenced Tempest's fate. If you want to try Forgery for yourself or learn more about Banana-chan's incredible work, there are links in the podcast description. Thank you for listening to this episode of A Game of One's Own. Our theme music, as always, is by James Barbarossa. And this week's episode also included music by David Jones-Krause, which was written for the Forgery crowdfunding campaign. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/snazzytapier for all the bonus goodies. You can follow the show on social media at A Game of One's Own, and find out more about my work at snazzytapier.com or at Maddy is Abstract on social media. See you next time for more weird stories.